On this week's show, we share the very sad and devastating news of the passing of OG member Howie Godnick.
And we lost one Peloton instructor, but we gained 4 new ones, and much, much more.
Welcome to Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. Here are your hosts, Amanda Siegel and John Pruitt.
Welcome to episode 62 of Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. I'm John Pruitt, joined as always by my co-host Amanda Siegel. Hey now, Amanda.
Hey, John. Hey, how are you doing?
Good, long time.
I know. I got a couple messages from our lofty viewers that missed last week. I was like, I didn't get to see you on the big screen.
Do you have a good Thanksgiving break?
I did. I had a fantastic Thanksgiving break. Very fortunate to have had the kids down. Everybody was home. And, it's always, for all those parents out there, when you got all your little chickens under one roof, it's always a good thing. So it was really good. It was a lovely time with everybody. And yeah, now just kind of counting down the days to the holidays, I guess, and kind of getting through the next few weeks as things start winding down.
Definitely. Well,
how about for you? You have a good week?
Yeah, it's good Thanksgiving. It was nice being off of work the whole week, and then my mom was here from Jersey, and we had Thanksgiving at my in-laws in Ann Arbor. But nice visit. The weather was kind of gray and sort of rainy here, so not the best weather. And then it turned cold, but we had a good time. Mom, she likes to take us out on the town, treat us to some meals. So when Mom's buying, nice. She goes all out. So that was nice.
Yeah. And I saw her. You got her on the treadmill. I saw her getting some workouts in there. I was quite impressed.
I know she did her. It's considered a scenic hike, I think, with Ben and Jess, the Iceland. Yeah. So I even went down there and she was just getting started on it. So, Ben and Jess were kind of bantering. And so I kidded her about you enjoying the conversation. And and it's funny, she doesn't have any she didn't have any exercise clothes. So she's just in her nice formal clothes that she wears around the house, like her sweater and her slacks.
You mean Jackie couldn't have thrown her a savvy pair of pants and sweatshirt? I mean, come on.
She has some of that, but I don't think I've ever seen my mom wear leggings before, but we'll get her there. That's
too funny. Yeah, you got to get her in that savvy gear. Or for
some
sure.
Pelo gear.
Come on.
I know, or at least get her some Pelo swag.
I'm giving Jackie that savvy shout out. I'm sure she appreciates.
Yeah, definitely. She doesn't mind.
Exactly. Yeah. So definitely getting ready for an upcoming week. And as we always tell you folks, before we get started with the news, we always like to remind you of how you can keep up to date with all of our content across all of our platforms. Every episode is released on our YouTube channel. Just hit the subscribe button at the bottom right-hand side of the video and hit the notify button so that you never miss an episode.
And if you don't want to, look at our beautiful faces, you can listen to us in traditional podcast format. We're on all platforms. Just search Pelo Buddy TV, hit subscribe, click notifications so you never miss an episode, and leave us a review if you're enjoying the show. We want to hear from you. We love to get feedback from you and suggestions how we can improve the show. So drop us a review.
Yeah, it was kind of fun to see how many folks had sent us messages telling us that we were the top podcast on their Spotify end of year playlist, right? I mean, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was nice to get some love.
I know, we definitely did get some love. So I'm glad that folks are listening on the podcast. And of course, folks, we are on Facebook and Instagram. You all know that already. But if you don't, make sure that you search Pelo Buddy and follow us on those platforms for all of the latest news. And I guess, John, let's get on with the show.
First, let's do a rundown of the latest Pelo news.
Yeah, so unfortunately, we start off today's show with the terribly sad news of the passing of one of Peloton's OG members, Howard Godnick. Whilst I never knew Howie personally, the profound impact that he had on so many members, including some of the US instructors, was palpable. Howie, or known to many on the leaderboard as Godnick, died of what we believe to be a heart attack this past Sunday. In fact, doing something that he loved best, and that was riding Sunday mornings with his fave, Jen Sherman. Howie has cheated death many times, so we have learned, having had a quadruple bypass back at the age of 35. And his mantra to all, his mantra that he had was, I did not die, I have to live, or I didn't die, I have to live, which is just something that was just so profound to me. Both Christine D'Urkel and Jen Sherman had, in fact, dedicated their rides to Howie right after the passing. Christine's 30-minute 2000s rock ride from this past Monday, November the 29th, was dedicated to him, as well as Jen Sherman did a 30-minute tribute ride on Tuesday, November the 30th. I was fortunate to ride both live, as I know you were, John. And again, whilst I didn't know him personally, it did give me pause to recognize how significant the power of the Peloton community truly is. Everybody that knew him or had some connection changed their hashtag, on the leaderboard to Godnick. There were folks on there that were moved. The messages on all the platforms, whether it be on the official Peloton page or the instructors' pages, were just amazing. Many attended his memorial, which was held in Manhattan on Tuesday morning, including Jen and Christine. And John Foley put out a wonderful statement acknowledging Howie's passing, and I'll quote it. He said, "I am deeply saddened to learn of the passing of one of our earliest adopters and most loyal members, Howard Godnick. Howard was a pillar of our community, an OG member who supported us from the very beginning, and was there for every tentpole moment on our One Peloton journey. While he didn't work at Peloton, he believed in the obligation to dissent and let us, me, John Foley, know when there were things that we could improve on. That sort of honest feedback helped us get to where we are today. How he built relationships on and off the leaderboard with hundreds of members. He was one of the original founders of Jen's Men and was always one of the first people to welcome a new member to the Peloton community. Those of you who knew Howie will remember him for his witty poems, many of which I was lucky enough to receive personally. He was our community's storyteller." So I know, John, you had the privilege, I guess, of knowing Howie somewhat, correct?
Yeah, so I would, when I first joined Peloton, I knew that he was a well-respected, longtime member of the community just from his interactions that I would see on social media. And he would always have a funny, witty poem, whether it would be about some sort of Peloton related news happening. He even had a poem, when someone on the OPP would post about needing a referral code, he even had a poem for his referral code, which was really funny. It was a great way to get somebody to use his referral code. But he was the resident poet, and I knew he was, come to learn he was real close with Jen. When he first met her at his very first ride, and he was a local, born and raised in New York City. Yeah. And so he and his girlfriend, Carrie, would go, they would ride all the time. They would ride all the time at 23rd Street. So anyone that rode there probably bumped into him at some point. And, he started Jen's Men. And I had, over the years, when I had gone in to ride, I'd always been excited to finally meet him, and our paths didn't cross until actually the last time that I was at the studio, which is February of 2020, just before the studio closed. We had a ride event there with Jen Sherman's group, and then we all had lunch afterwards around the corner. So I had this expectation of him, this larger than life character, and he fully exceeded my expectations when I finally got to. And he was, when we rode in the studio together, he always rode sort of right against, right in the first row, right up against the mirror. It was bike 11. That was his bike, and I think I was 2 bikes over from him, more towards the middle. But he was hilarious. He was not a fan. He's hilarious. He was not a fan of the high five feature, which was funny. So I would always high five him incessantly when I would see him on the leaderboard. And after the ride, when we were, taking photos and I was taking a picture with Jen, he came up to me right during the picture, and I posted a picture in my stories a few days ago, just after he passed, of him like barraging me with high fives, and you just see Jen off to the side just cracking up. So just some funny moments, and I shared it. I've got a couple pictures with him, but even though I wouldn't say we were friends or we were close or anything, but just the time interacting with him on social media that weekend, I've thought about him every single day since he's passed, like such sadness in my heart for obviously for him and his family, for Jen, and for all the people that he was super close with in the community. So I mean, that's just the effect that he had on people.
Right. And again, as I said, John, I mean, I didn't know him at all. And I have to say, I was so consumed this past week, with the messages. I took the time to watch his TED Talk, which is fantastic. And if you guys haven't seen it and you just want to learn more about this, this incredible human, watch it. Due to his heart disease and stuff, he had ended up losing his eyesight, or partially losing his eyesight, so would have to wear glasses. And he talks about that. He talks about, it was, and it was from a few years ago. I mean, the TED Talk, I think, was back from 2016. So it's, a good few years ago. But definitely take the time, just YouTube it and find it, because it's worth the 14 minutes to watch. And I forwarded it on to, friends, because I was so moved by him. I actually jumped on I jumped on Jen's ride from Thursday night, her 30-minute
30-minute 80s.
I did. Yeah. And, I didn't know what to expect. I did it because I could see that I felt like I needed to give her the support, even though it wasn't a live ride. I just felt like, and again, I mean, she was, you could just see the sadness to her core. And I'm sure you're going to get members that are going to say it's enough, or, she shouldn't, this is everybody's platform. I'm sure there's going to come, that will come out of it. But honestly, I didn't even push myself. I had tears like kind of going down my eyes at one point in the ride. And this is, her ride on Tuesday was beyond. I literally sobbed. I think I sent you a message afterwards. I had a headache all day because I literally sobbed from beginning to end, because I really, truly felt her grief, and she felt grieved, and it made me stop and as I said, it made me stop and realize we are the most powerful community. And look, I think that a lot of newer members are never going to feel what some of us have had the privilege of having been in studio, having had that one-on-one interaction with some of the instructors. You've certainly had it. You've certainly had it, with Jen yourself and some of the ones down at 23rd Street. I've had that with, the London, the UK instructors. I think that's going to change. I think when the studios open up, we're not going to have that same connection. We're dealing with a member base now of millions, as opposed to the few, 100,000s we had back then, or thousands even, back in 2016 and 17. But it was I felt incredibly appreciated, I think, by most, that Peloton did acknowledge what had happened. Certainly I'm sure there are other members that have passed, but he was somebody that needed, that just needed that I think for those that had that circle around him needed that to be able to try and move on.
I thought it was really sweet that they fully recognized his contribution to the community. When they posted on pretty much all their social media channels about it. So I thought that was really nice that they they recognized him that way. Yeah. And the instructors, even besides Jen, even instructors, on the tread, Howie wasn't a runner. He didn't, work out with a lot, he really stuck to Jen for the most part, and Christine
and
too.
Christine, it seemed. Yeah.
And he's known Christine well before Peloton, because Christine's been teaching spin for 20 years. And she mentioned, interactions with him, when she was teaching spin out on the Hamptons or in Long Island. But, it was really nice to hear a lot of the other instructors mention him in their classes. Rebecca Kennedy on her boot camp this past last week, talked about never meeting him, but she loved to see the energy and support that everyone had for him. But what was I going to say? I love, if you didn't know Howard Godnick, or you're just hearing about him on this show, take Jen's 30-minute tribute ride, and through all her little stories, you'll hear what a character he is. I love, how he was such a joker. She tells so many different funny stories about him. I mean, they were really close. I mean, they were texting, and just some of the funny stories that she told in that ride were great. And she talked about her, he browbeated her, bullied her into finally doing this TV theme show ride from 2016, which I did a couple times on demand before it, was finally purged a while back. But that ride was so much fun, and I had posted a couple clips from it in my this little birthday compilation that I made for her last week. Yeah. But take that ride and you'll really understand what an impact he had on everyone that he came in contact with. And you totally see that. And I loved that ride so much because it was really such a great way to grieve.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I have it as my pick of the week. And I chose it because I do want people to go out and take it, because I think it just, especially at a time of year that we're now coming into the holidays and we take so much for granted. His mantra, I did not die, I didn't die, I have to live, is what we all should be saying, how fortunate we all are that we get to live another day. So, I won't say much in the picks of the week, but it is my pick of the week because it was just, I thought the most, just the most compelling ride. So, Mine.
Yeah, it was mine too.
All right, there you go.
Well, segueing into some other news, we have I think Peloton. I think we have a new record for the shortest stint as a Peloton instructor. Peloton tread coach Marina Andresen. Is it Andresen?
Andresen, yeah.
Andresen.
I guess it's pronounced.
Andresen. She just recently announced that she's leaving Peloton effective Saturday, December 4th. She shared the news on Instagram and said, sharing with you all Saturday the 4th will be my last class at Peloton. Thank you to my Peloton teammates, most especially all our Peloton members. I've loved running with you all and I've learned so much from spending time on the tread with you. Please keep in touch as you continue your running journey, and I'll see you on the road. It's kind of strange considering, she just launched on September 30th of this year. And kind of a bit of a shock. I mean, she was on she was the second German language tread instructor with Tobias Heinz. And what was interesting that Chris Lewis, I think, pointed out was she never actually taught a live class. Is my understanding. Is that right? Control room? I thought that was one of the things I thought that was strange.
Yeah, never did a live class is what I'm hearing.
Okay, I don't hear it on my end, but so it was a little weird. And her final class on Saturday the 4th was not live. it was listed as Encore, which is also weird. So, yeah, it's kind of strange. I know, we had Irene, our German cycling instructor. She left after about a year and a half.
And she had good reason. She had good reason.
Yeah, totally.
And, she ended up getting pregnant, and her partner was traveling so much, and I guess she chose to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So this seems weird. Who knows if she was let go? I mean, people can speculate all they want. But yeah, it's kind of weird being with the company for that. If you left on your own accord, kind of strange after, just 2 months.
I wonder if Peloton will come out with a statement, talking about her leaving.
So I, know we had past instructors who, were apparently let go, like Oliver Lee. A lot of people, thought Jennifer Jacobs was also let go from Peloton, which neither side has ever actually said. I mean, Oliver he was almost like wiped clean from the platform. Right. And then the only kind of thing we ever saw was Peloton commenting on someone on a social media channel asking what happened to him. And they just said, Oliver is no longer with the company, out of respect for his privacy, we cannot comment on his departure. So yeah, who knows?
Yeah, this is strange. I guess we'll wait and see if anything.
Maybe like Irene, we'll find out later on down the line, maybe in some sort of interview, because Irene
I've tried to, Irene and I had somewhat of a relationship, and I adore her. I think she's absolutely fantastic. And, I did ask her to come on the show, and unfortunately, she had said that she was not able to just because of her departing contract with Peloton. So maybe one day maybe one day when that passes, we'll find out. But again, I think with Irene, it really had to do with the fact that she had gotten pregnant, and and her partner's a big professional golfer, and was traveling all over the place, and she made the choice to be with him. As opposed to being on the platform. So I can understand. I mean, look, people leave jobs all the time, but this one was definitely a shock. I to be honest with you, when we were working on the notes for the show, I had to go back and look at who she was because I didn't even remember us announcing her.
I know.
It literally was.
I feel bad because I feel like so many of the comments on Pelo Buddy's posts on Facebook and Insta were kind of along the lines of who? I know, and I feel bad. I never really.
I did too.
I never. I don't think I followed her on social.
She was a German coach, so it definitely took that. It took that already. The community, a smaller community, segment. A smaller community. Right. But it seems like right.
We've got a few new German cycling instructors that were just announced earlier this week. And just so you know, Marina still has runs listed on demand. She's still in the system. But yeah, we have 3 new German cycling instructors to add to the German team. So Mila Lazar, Benny Adami, and Charlotte Weidenbach. I'm trying to give my German spin on there. We had previously reported on Mila joining the team back in October. But Mila had her premiere ride on November 30th. Benny had his premiere ride on December 1st, and Charlotte's was on December 3rd. And Benny, I took a cool down of his. It was in German, but the nice thing was there were English subtitles for it.
Oh wow!
So that was kind of nice. And he reminds me of a lot of a German actor who does a lot of English movies. I can't remember his name, but he was in. He was in a Formula One racing movie, and a couple other Quentin Tarantino movie. It just the look of him. He reminds me of this German actor. The name I'll probably think of it an hour later.
That's okay. Yeah.
But yeah, the cool down was good, and it was nice having the subtitles, so I could actually.
That's awesome. Yeah,
I could actually understand.
Yeah.
But they're live on the Peloton website. We have all the links on pelobuddy.com. Directly. To their bios if you want to read more about them.
And I am hearing, John, from Control Room that apparently the Premier Rides had subtitles too. So that's actually good for folks to know that if you want to try out these new instructors, you can with the subtitles, which is great. I mean, especially once it goes on demand and you have a Bike Plus, you're able to kind of have your, cadence set up anyway.
Your auto resistance.
Your auto resistance and cadence. So, or resistance at least. So yeah. Yeah, John, and kind of hot off the press news. We had heard some rumors about a Logan Aldridge, who is an adaptive athlete, who we weren't sure at first whether he was coming on as an instructor or not, but just this past Friday, Peloton did in fact announce that he was going to be coming on as a trainer. So the first adaptive athlete coming onto the platform, I guess, behind the scenes initially. We're not sure whether he'll ultimately, in fact, be a trainer for strength, or an instructor at least, for strength. But for right now, it's my understanding that he will be a trainer. And we got some info, on Logan. He was actually somebody who, and I'm quoting this, his life had changed back as a teenager at 13 after a day of wakeboarding on Lake Gaston on the North Carolina-Virginia border. He had been helping his dad on the family boat. The duo was pushing off from a friend's dock and heading back home when a rope he was coiling got tangled in the propeller. Within an instant, it severed through the skin and arteries in his left arm right up to the bone. And Logan actually did end up losing his left arm. But he is an avid CrossFitter, and my understanding, and again, we know very little. I mean, I know very little at this much. You maybe know a little bit more than me, John. But he, I guess it's just amazing that it shows folks, and we've had Annika Zine on the show before, who is also an adaptive athlete, having gone on to win gold medal in the Olympics. But Annika was somebody who, as well as a teenager or a young woman, had fallen off a horse and ended up, being paraplegic and went on to, cycle and arm cycle and be a champion basketball player. So it just shows folks that, we can never say never. There's always an opportunity if you're strong enough and you have the ability to keep going to be able to do stuff like this. So looking forward to seeing how he impacts, the Peloton world and what they'll do with him and ultimately in the future. But that was really exciting to see happen.
Yeah, and it sounds like most likely he could have a lot to do with helping with the new product coming out. Is it Peloton Guide? So I feel like that. Yeah, I feel like awesome. He probably, since he hasn't been announced as an actual trainer, he's more consulting behind the scenes. I'm sure he's probably tied into that in some way, helping, with the development and all the beta testing that a lot of members are currently doing that are using it, on the down low, that have NDAs.
And apparently, according to Control Room, they are looking at him as a future instructor. So that's fantastic.
Well, we'll stay tuned for more. What else? We got some apparel to discuss.
All I can say, John, is it looks that they are definitely trying to offload a lot of their inventory. That's all I can say. Because after the amazing Black Friday sales, and there were hundreds of things that were available for folks to get at reduced prices, which, as I've said before on the show, drives me insane after I've paid full price or used referral codes to see everything go on sale. So after the amazing Black Friday sales, they had some apparel drop down to as low as $25 on the website. Folks could get things for that. But they announced just this past Wednesday that they were actually launching a holiday campaign titled 7 Days of Surprises, with future holiday sales and discounts. So each day at 10 a.m. Eastern time here in the States, an announcement is made as to what these surprises are. It will run from back last Wednesday the 1st right through till the 7th. The first surprise was revealed on Wednesday and was a 60% off discount on select performance prints. Just to note, folks, though, the fine print notes that the discounts are only valid for that specific day and while supplies last. So, if you get on that day and you like what you see, buy it, because if it's available, that's great, because once the day is done, that will no longer, be on sale. And it was just for select items. It can only be redeemed online, so you cannot use them at the boutiques. These specific sale items are just for online apparel. So did you pick up anything? Have you picked up anything through the Black Friday sales and now the holiday campaign?
I think I got a couple shirts for the Black Friday. I don't think I've gotten anything as directly part of the campaign. I've just gotten so much stuff lately, and I have to say, I think my new favorite, I'm going to give a plug for Peloton apparel. My new favorite hoodie is this. It's on the back of this new shadow something. It's a full zip up. It's almost a beyond yoga type material.
Oh, nice.
My favorite hoodie. Love it.
Oh,
and I just ordered
awesome.
the pants, the joggers that go with it. And this is new. This is one of the Nike.
Yeah, this one's
Nike
new
tees.
too.
I think this is on sale.
This one,
Yeah,
this
lots
one
of good
was
stuff.
Oh my God, and this is like soft and amazing. I mean, I feel like so cuddly and warm in it. So there is some really cool stuff. I have to tell you, they've done a really good job with the apparel line, and we'll talk a little bit more about their issues with the apparel. But I think that they've done a really good job, and there's a ton on there. So for folks that aren't sure, it's a good time to test it out, because there is tons of stuff that is on sale. I did notice, though, on Wednesday when they dropped that, the surprise day, a lot of it was the Width brand. So it wasn't actually the Peloton apparel brand. A lot of the apparel that they had on there was the Width brand, which a lot of people don't like. I actually have a few things, and I've had no complaints with it. But back and forth, I had heard some chatter that people didn't like it. So maybe that's why it was kind of sitting. But now that it was on sale and so cheap, people maybe would have gone for it anyway, because the stuff's expensive at full price, no question. That it's pricey. It's definitely pricey. So and then, folks, with the end of the year comes lots of support and motivation from the instructors, and we saw a lot of that this past week. Robin Arzon, in fact, put out a challenge for folks to continue to be active for the month of December. So as you know, the holidays are around the corner, family are visiting, people are traveling, and, folks tend to put their, exercise routines a little bit to the back burner. So Robin was very vocal in this new challenge that she's calling 3 for 31. And I have to say, it's gotten a ton of momentum. Basically, what Robin did was she committed to running 3 miles a day, every day for the entire month of December. And her plan for us members was, because not everybody are runners, for folks to walk, jog, or run 3 miles.
Steps, yeah.
Get your steps in. She was saying, something like 6,000 steps every day. And again, for those that are not runners, then to just move your body for at least 30 minutes. And that can include the bike, the tread, on the mat, whether you're doing Pilates or yoga, or just taking a nice long walk outside. I know it's cold for us East Coasters and Northerners, but certainly for, to be able to just take a nice walk and get your movement in and just keeping active. The best part about it is that she's not expecting anyone to do it all in one foul swoop, do your 30 minutes all in one. She suggested if you want to do, maybe you only have 15 minutes in the morning to jump on the bike and do a quick ride, ride or to go out and walk, that's great. Just don't forget to come back to it at the end of the day to maybe add in 15 minutes of something additional. And then she's asking folks to tag her on social media with the hashtag 3for31. So I can only imagine, John, what her DMs must look like. I'm sure she's been inundated, right?
Her DMs must be loading up because she never seems to read them.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I've posted so many. I've tagged her in so many stories, and she's kind of like Cody. She never really reshares stories. She
doesn't.
She just posts. She gets in. She gets out. So If you message Robin, don't expect a response. At least my experience, but
mine too.
She's
too.
Busy.
Yeah, she is. But
she's busy.
But I think it is a nice
busy.
way. It is a nice way just for people. And interestingly enough, it was actually quite cute. I had a friend reach out to me and say, I know you know this stuff, so how do I become part of this 3for31 challenge? And I'm like, well, it's really just for you. Like she thought she had to sign up somewhere, or it was very sweet.
Yeah, you had to go on the app.
Correct. Right. And I said, no, it's just for you. And I said, look, for someone like me who's a big social media poster, it's just holding accountability and it's making sure that I'm doing it every day and it's fun to do, which was interesting. But it does look like that Jess Sims was jumping on the bandwagon too and has committed to doing it as well. So, I think for us, this is an easy one. For you and me, there's no question that we're doing 30 minutes a day, and much, much more. But I think it is nice for those of you out there that just do need that little bit of a push. And maybe you get together with a group of friends and there's a bunch of you that are doing it together, and you can kind of hold each other accountable for the next 31 days in sharing what you've done. So it doesn't have to be that Robin's seeing it or that Jess is seeing it, but more so just, have your accountability partners with, other members. And I love that. I've seen so much of that, John. So, I think it's fun to look at it from that perspective, but just again, keeping us all moving.
My tread boo, Matty Majacomo, he's in on it as well. He was mentioning Friday morning
awesome.
Before the start of his 20-minute 80s run. He talked about how he'll meet that daily goal just with the amount of times he goes back and forth to his refrigerator. So he's in there too.
Oh, that's awesome. That's hysterical. Yeah. Well, good. Keeps us all moving.
Changing gears, we have a little bit more info on Peloton's game for the bike that they've been developing that's currently being beta tested by some members. There was a article recently in the Washington Post that says, as pandemic sales wane, Peloton turns to gaming to keep its momentum. And it quotes Peloton's vice president of product design, Bud Intonato. Gaming was not on Peloton's roadmap, he says, until several months ago when certain staff members, particularly those who are avid gamers, encouraged leadership to pursue the idea, and internal research later confirmed that it would be an effective way to continue growth with the company. His team began experimenting with different mechanics that use the Peloton bike as a controller, and they developed about 10 different games, which Lanebreak proved to be the most accessible. And they said in it, with Lanebreak, members control a wheel-like avatar and a virtual track. We've shown some footage from one of our sources with 3 distinct lanes. Moving left and right between them requires twisting the resistance knob, with each lane containing different challenges. And although the game's beta currently runs as a solo experience with asynchronous leaderboards, Intonato says that this is only the beginning. He says that in the long term, we see lots of game modes and additional mechanics to expand Lanebreak to more real-time community interaction. So you could, it sounds like there'll be more of a competitive aspect to it eventually once it's developed out with other members on the leaderboard. They also said that the company is going to begin to more directly compete with rivals like Zwift, which is a cycling app where users race in virtual worlds using power-ups, which could prove challenging. When it comes to the gaming side of cycling, Peloton is not the market leader, but in some ways they'll be nipping at the heels of others. And I know I have a neighbor who's all about Zwift. He's got his, his stationary bike set up in his basement. I've tried to get him into Peloton, and he's like, "No, I like my Zwift."
I do too.
So,
I have two friends that just love their Zwift and are not interested in switching over.
Yeah, so it'll be kind of see if we take a little bite out of Zwift's market share when Lanebreak finally debuts next year. So we'll see.
Exciting. Yeah. And as we all know, back in September, Peloton had launched as we just spoke about, their own private label, the apparel collection called Peloton Apparel. This came after they had collaborated with brands such as Lululemon, Beyond Yoga, Width, and others. But it seems now that Peloton are once again facing legal action regarding potential patent infringements. We had reported previously that Peloton was launching a preemptive lawsuit against Lululemon, and this had been prompted by a cease and desist letter that Lululemon had sent to Peloton. In response to this, Lululemon now has actually filed their own lawsuit, and it seems that they're actually trying to get it into the California courts and rather than New York. So it's interesting, John, because how many different bra tops can you really have, or pants? And obviously Lululemon are looking to pull at straws to see how they can say that their that particular brand was patented to them. So I'm curious to see where this is going to go. I cannot believe that Peloton Apparel would be any competition to Lululemon, but just side by side, as is Beyond Yoga and Alo and the other brands that are out there.
Athleta, yeah.
Right. I mean, there are just so many. So I was kind of irritated when I saw this because it was like, okay, there we go again. It's just like another reason for somebody to, pick at Peloton for something.
Another lawsuit. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we wanted to share that with you. It obviously made news that, this past week, and we'll have to wait and see as to, whether they settle in or out of court, or settle out of court at least, or whether it goes in, and whether it does in fact get heard in California rather than New York. I'm not sure the benefit of that, but definitely something that we'll kind of wait and see.
Yep. Well, Chelsea Jackson Roberts, she's back now teaching, but back on November 20th, she revealed news actually during her Instagram Live with Jennifer Garner, which is an ongoing series that she has every month. If you've never caught that, she announced that she had COVID. She had said, "This is the first announcement I'm making. I tested positive for COVID. Testimony to the vaccine. I'm fully vaccinated, and I can only imagine what this would be like had I not been." And she explained she was experiencing some congestion. She was excessively tired. She also explained that she's relying heavily on her meditation practice to get her through the challenging time. But she's back, back teaching on the platform now, and seems to be healthy. But and in addition, she's the second instructor. Back in early on in the pandemic, Cody had contracted COVID, and that really took a toll on him health-wise, because it was way before we had a vaccine. And then obviously he tested positive again once he was fully vaccinated during Dancing with the Stars, and based on how he was feeling, it seemed like it affected him in a pretty mild way.
John, I have to say though, it definitely does have. And look, I'm not ashamed to say that I am, a huge, proponent for the vaccine. I think that if it's out there and it can help us, then it's maybe the only way that, that we're going to get beyond this. So I will say it out there. It's obviously my own personal feeling, but I am absolutely a huge proponent for it. But it is interesting how many people just in the last few weeks I have heard that have gotten COVID. And all of them have said, thank God that they were vaccinated, because they can't imagine what it would have been like if they hadn't. I was just at a function, this past week back in Manhattan, and it seems to be pretty rampant in New York, from what I'm understanding. I wouldn't be surprised, and I'm sure that's why they're still holding off opening the studio. I can only imagine that be the reason. I mean, they're pretty strict in the city as far as showing your vaccination cards wherever you go. I mean, we were, as I said, I was in the city, this past week, and you cannot go into a restaurant without showing your card. I used the hotel gym. You couldn't do it without, making sure that you had been, vaccinated. And I do catch those lives with Jennifer Garner. I'm a huge Jennifer Gardner fan. So when Chelsea does her meditations with Jennifer, I do actually jump on those. And, she did seem, she pretty much announced it, as you said, right there on the IG Live. But glad to hear that she's, back to normal and back in the studio, because I do love her stuff. So I'm good to hear that.
And I assume that all the instructors are fully vaccinated.
Yeah,
I'm sure they don't. I'm sure they don't post about it, because you don't want to just spark that debate, with people that are so quick to, anyone that's anti-vax or anyone pro. It's just better just to avoid that. But yeah, I'm sure some vax people were turned off by what you said. But anyway, we're not here to get into that. But
no.
I thought it was interesting a week or two ago, and I just got my booster. But I thought it was interesting. Matt Wilpers just randomly in his Insta stories a week or so ago, he posted that he got his booster. And I think that was probably like the first social media related instructor post about it. And I asked him what he got. I think he said he got Pfizer.
Yeah.
But anyway, someone else who's returned from being sidelined for a while, Selena Samuela, has recently returned from the injured reserve list. She was teaching back on the tread again for the first time on Thursday the 2nd. I was there for her live 30-minute rock ride. She was fired up as soon as pre-show began. She was so pumped and fired up, and I even posted a clip of it in my Insta stories. She had been away for 2 months. She had broke her ankle while walking her little English bulldog Dolly. And she told the story in pre-show in more detail and then mentioned it again during the class. But she was just walking along with her, and the dog was off leash, so it wasn't even like she yanked her down to the ground. But she stepped into, she was walking in tall grass, and she stepped into it like a big hole or divot, and broke her ankle. And luckily, she recovered super quickly, because we were hauling ass on that run. Like I went up to an 11.4 on my speed on the tread.
Wow.
And it was a great run. And I think I put it in my picks of the week. So it was great to have her back, because I love running with her, and I love boot camps with her. And I know she was, very sorely missed on the platform. So great to have Selena back.
Wow, I can't believe that was 2 months, though. It seemed like it was yesterday we were reporting on her being out. I can't believe that those 2 months have kind of gone. Wow.
Well, I think I do remember she was teaching some strength classes, though, while she was in a boot.
Okay.
So this was her first return to the tread, though. So she was in the strength studio teaching recently, but obviously limited mobility, with that massive boot on her foot.
Sure. Well, good. So happy that they're back. So happy that they're back. And I'll just kind of throw in there, because my fave, Aditi, was actually off just for one day. And I actually reached out and I said, "Are you okay?" Because I love doing her classes. And she was like, "Yeah, I'm just under the weather." I think she was waiting to find out whether she had COVID. And she messaged me on Friday. She messaged me on Friday morning and said, "I'm doing great. I'm going to be back in the studio today. And I'm going to be on the platform." So I was pleased to know that she was kind of back to normal. But yeah, I mean, it's, they're human, and they're going to have things that are going to come up, right?
Yeah.
And they,
Jess, Rebecca,
Yeah,
Yeah.
they all have stuff, and we just have to, just be grateful and thankful that they get back on track and get back onto the platform. So, and then I'm going to switch gears, but for those of you folks that love the Beatles, like myself, this past week we got round 2 of the Beatles Artist Series. So, John, beginning November 27th, the Beatles return to the platform with a brand new artist series featuring some of their iconic tracks. The series included a ride, a walk plus run, upper body strength, and yoga flows, both actually in German and Spanish. I got to do the walk plus run with my boy, John Husking, and I absolutely...
Was it Huskies? Club Husky?
The Club Husky, please.
Club Husky.
Club Husky _ Peloton. John did, and it is my pick of the week, but it was fantastic. I mean, he was just fun, and it was great. I have not done Dennis's ride. I think it was a 45-minute ride.
I did it live. Yeah,
did
it was
you?
Awesome. Saturday,
was it awesome?
Saturday morning, 8 a.m.
Yeah, I think I'm going to try and do it this coming week.
It was so good. They, I can't remember every single song, but there was one little gripe that I had, and one of my favorite medleys, I think it's from the Let It Be album, is the Golden Slumbers, Carry That Weight, The End, which is like a 3-track. It's a 3-track medley, and the end is the last song of the medley, and it includes this guitar solo trade-off between George, Paul, and John, and right when that part of the medley is supposed to begin, Dennis immediately cut into a cover of Kansas City. And I was like, that you gotta have that whole medley in there. But it was a fantastic ride. That was just my personal, beef, because I love that solo at the end. Yeah, right. And there's apparently a story about it when they were recording in the studio. John said to Yoko, "Just give us a second. We have to do this part of the song." And it was apparently just one shot. It was one take.
Amazing.
And it's a really cool part of the song where they trade off guitar solo, and you can really kind of tell the different sound of each one, who's who.
Yeah, yeah.
And I love that track off of Let It Be. But overall, it was a fantastic ride. I loved it more than the previous Beatles ride from about a year ago.
With Leanne?
Really good, yeah. I think Leanne, and I think also there was another ride too. It might have been with Dennis.
Oh, okay. I think you may be right. I think back in December last year they maybe had one or two.
There was more than one Beatles ride last year.
Well, as you guys know, you can always head over to pelobuddy.com because we do list them over there. And in fact, I'm not even gonna list what this new series had, because you can certainly head over to pelobuddy.com and see the classes and workouts for round 2. If you haven't had an opportunity.
And there's a nice little badge
to take
a nice little Beatles.
And there's a badge, absolutely. But interestingly enough, though, the timing of the second Beatles Artist Series, John, corresponds with the release of it was highly anticipated, but their 3-part documentary series titled Get Back. It was released on Disney Plus in the US on Thanksgiving Day. So I haven't had a chance to watch it yet because we've been so busy, and I had all the family and everybody there, and then I came down to New York. So I haven't had a chance to watch it, but that is absolutely something that I cannot wait to watch. I think I've heard fantastic.
It's long. Obviously, you've heard how long it is. I'm 20 minutes into it. You really have to be in the right mood.
I know.
For me, I posted. I always find the most funny random things on TikTok that I post to my Insta stories, but I haven't gotten to this part in watching it. But there's a funny moment when they're in the studio and John Lennon totally forgets that the cameras are rolling, that they're filming a documentary, and he turns around to take out a joint. And then he immediately sees the camera and he quickly tucks it away.
I did. I saw that. I was like, oh God, I gotta watch this. So I gotta set aside the time. But actually, John Husking has been talking about it a lot because he obviously watched it in preparation for his Walk Plus Run.
For his class.
And he was just raving about it. And then through him, I've seen other people mention about how fantastic it is. So I mean, I think that the bringing part 2 of the artist series has been well received by members as well. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, we also have another artist series, AC/DC. And that series ran from December 1st through Saturday the 4th. There were 2 rides, 2 full body strength classes, a couple runs, and a yoga flow. We had Andy Spears, Sam Yo, Kristen McGee, JJ, Jermaine Johnson, Matt Wilpers, Eric Yeager, and Mila, teaching all their respective classes and their respective modalities, as Amanda would say. I did the 30-minute ride with Sam Yo from Wednesday, the 1st. I did that live. It was super fun. It kicked off the ride with Shoot to Thrill, which like every single AC/DC song is a banger, as Ben would say. Just like so many great riffs. I always have a special place for AC/DC in my heart because back on my high school varsity hockey team in New Jersey, we always skated out to Back in Black. So I have a lot of great memories tied to, my youth with AC/DC, but it was a fantastic ride with Sam, and we have all the class listings on Pelo Buddy, like you said.
Not an AC/DC fan, but I did hear that Sam's ride was amazing. So I'm almost tempted to just jump on. I love Sam, so
he also, sorry to cut you off. He did say tried to, one of the former members who's passed away, Angus Young, one of the main guitarists for AC/DC. He would always wear this like schoolboy outfit with a little cap when he would perform. Yeah. And Sam said he tried to do that outfit for the ride, but he couldn't make the hat stay on.
And he loves to dress up. He loves to dress up for his rides.
So he was in a cutoff shirt. Obviously, that he's always in a cutoff. But I also busted Andy Spears' chops because I was hoping he would pull off the schoolboy outfit for his strength class.
No luck.
And he even said I tried to. I don't know how far he tried to do it, but he commented back when I kidded him about it. Said he tried to do it too. So whatever reason they didn't make it work. But
maybe I'll jump on Sam's ride. Yeah. Well, we actually we also got an extra Beyonce class this past week. So she, as we all know, her second series was released, artist series was released. But Kirsten Ferguson did a 20-minute outdoor walk that dropped the day after Thanksgiving. So that was on Friday the 26th, which was great and awesome. And they are definitely working on new outdoor content. Which is definitely needed because the stuff on there is pretty old. So I'm really pleased to see that. But she's fun. Kristen is absolutely fantastic. I love her. So we definitely got an outdoor walk. It was just 20 minutes, and I wish it had been 30 because I liked it, to have my 30 for 31. It would have been fun. But she did a 20 minute. And then of course with the holidays approaching, we do anticipate a lot of holiday classes to drop on the platform. There's apparently already one hidden strength class out there. So I'm not sure if anybody has done it. I have not. But of course, if you head over to pelobuddy.com, you will have a full listing of the classes once they drop, and we will keep updating them on there. Chris is amazing in making sure, that everything is put up there. And lastly, a new class drops the final month for the Strength Stack of 2021. And it's with your girl, Rebecca Kennedy, John. She is featured. She's the featured instructor that's doing the Strength Stack for December. The stack includes 10 classes. And for the first time since the monthly Strength Stacks were launched, it is primarily bodyweight strength with a little bit of HIIT cardio and one core strength that includes dumbbells. And I think it's actually kind of smart because I think with people kind of traveling and moving around, they don't have their weight sets. They don't often have gyms where they are. So it's a way of being able to continue doing your strength, just using your body weight. So good for Rebecca for acknowledging, that it was coming at the end of the year and that she was able to do it that way. So that's the new Strength Stack.
Well, we have a sale for December on the Bike Plus. Now, this is not as juicy as the Black Friday deal that was on the bike. But for the month of December, you can get the Bike Plus for $200 off plus free delivery. So you're saving $450 in total. Normally delivery is $250. So if you didn't take advantage of the Black Friday deal and you're still on the fence about the Bike Plus, this is a pretty nice sweetener. I know a lot of people will say, the auto resistance isn't worth it. And so, I mean, really it comes down to if you want to have the screen, pivot and you want the Apple Watch, being able to sync up and have that nicer tablet with the more powerful front-facing speaker. You love do you use the auto resistance?
I do.
Amanda, on your Bike Plus?
I
Okay.
do. With my on-demand classes, I really do, and I love it.
I don't think Jackie even uses that feature. I think she just likes the Apple Watch.
I like that too.
Integration.
I love that, yeah.
But you can also get an app. So on my bike, I just have the bike. I have a pivot. It's like $50.
Yeah.
So I can just easily tilt the screen, and I always use earbuds, so it's not like on the Pelo Buddy website. A little plug for Pivot. If you get it through our website, you get $5 off. I know it's on Amazon too. But I love my Pivot. So shout out to them. And in other news, Peloton's got a football sponsorship. So they launched a new TV ad the weekend before Thanksgiving that features several football players and sport broadcasters, and it was airing over the weekend during college football games as well as NFL ones shown on Fox. But I just watched it on the link on pelobuddy.com because I needed a refresher. I couldn't remember it from a week or so ago. But it has former pro football players Reggie Bush, Mark Sanchez, Fox Sports broadcaster Carissa Thompson, and Jenny Taft, and then football coach who is best known for being the coach at Oklahoma University, Bob Stoops, at the end. So they're all racing together on the leaderboard. And then all of a sudden, Bob Stoops, they show him like rapidly climbing the leaderboard. And at the end of the commercial, they show him just walking into his living room, and former Notre Dame quarterback Brady Quinn is riding Bob Stoops' bike under his leaderboard name. And so, he kids him and says, when are you going to get your own bike? And it also closes with a mention that Peloton is sponsoring Fox's Football Feast on Thanksgiving Day. And then also, Bike Plus appearance made it into the trailer for the upcoming Sex and the City reboot recently, which everyone was posting about on social.
Including me.
Yeah. So big. Carrie Bradshaw's husband, he's riding a Bike Plus. And you can see Carrie's, fancy, massive closet in the background there where he's riding, in the window. And that Sex and the City reboot will be, it's right around the corner. It's premiering December 9th, Amanda. I don't know if you're excited.
Very.
You excited for that?
I can't wait. Oh my God, I can't wait. I was a huge Sex and the City fan. So I'm really excited.
No Samantha, though. No Samantha.
I know.
Sad.
I'm bummed. It is sad. But you know what? Good for them for still going on with it. And I think it's going to be fabulous. I think it's still going to be great. I am sad that she's not in it. There were some, I understand, some not good vibes between her and Sarah Jessica Parker. So disappointing. But it was fun to see that. It was really fun to see the bike in there. I mean, how cool, right? We always get excited when we see that kind of
prominently
stuff.
front and and of course Big's on a Bike Plus because Big's got to have the best.
Right, of course.
I didn't see it. I didn't see a Tread or a Tread Plus though. Maybe
Right. Exactly.
Maybe that's on a different floor of the apartment.
Right. They've got both, one for her and one for him.
In his gym, yeah.
They're taking a page out of the Pruitt book with two bikes.
Right.
Yeah, John, and then really switching gears completely, but for our Aussie followers, not such great news. It actually turns out that Peloton has updated their service plans for hardware devices that were purchased in Australia. And as of Tuesday, the 30th of November, Peloton is no longer offering extended warranties on the Bike or Bike Plus. So that was definitely something that I think people are going to be upset about. And folks that had gotten them were actually being refunded, had gotten the warranties, were actually being refunded. So they were actually being sent back money on that. So so not 100% sure actually the backstory on why. I don't believe that was in the article, but just to put it out there that there is no longer an extended warranty offered on the Bike Plus, on the Bike Plus.
That's a bummer because that extended warranty, that's some peace of mind. That's nice to have. Yeah. And I know I've on my bike we still have it, but like the bearings and some of those common things that go, it's nice to have that while we still have it. So I wonder if they reevaluated things, obviously with the financials coming out recently. So Control Room is saying there's some laws. I figured it was a cost matter, but apparently there were some laws that played into it.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes,
well, I think we're now at instructors in the news.
We are. Let's go.
Since we were off, everyone should know by now, what happened with Cody and Dancing with the Stars. But in case you didn't know, Cody finished in third place. I think the biggest shock, and I was really excited to see that Aman, I can't remember his name now, his last name, Aman ended up winning the mirror ball.
No, I know. Is that crazy?
Jojo was the runner-up. I think, I had been calling it for so many weeks on every episode saying, the fix is in, JoJo's got it. But I think everyone was truly excited for Aman, because he so drastically improved. And, the guy is like 7 feet tall. And to be able to do what he did and to keep improving from week to week, I think he was definitely the most deserving.
I agree.
And it was great for, it was great for Cody. He did fantastic under the circumstances with COVID and having to perform remotely and, being away from the ballroom for a couple of weeks. He still did a great job, but I think Aman just, the overall improvement in his arc, how he started out, I think, he really was most deserving.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I have to say, I agree. I do agree. I was surprised. I must be honest with you, though, just from a voting perspective. I was surprised that the Peloton votes didn't get Cody the win. But you are right. I think if anyone, I think he was the deserving person. JoJo's a professional dancer. I never quite understood how she could have even been on the show. Because that's what she is. That's what she does. She's a professional dancer. So, you're right. It definitely gave it a little bit more backbone knowing that he was the one that ended up, being the.
He's more like the true underdog because Cody has professional dance background, like you said with JoJo, true. But he's a professional athlete. So
yeah.
No, it was a great kind of underdog story. He still performed well. He got great scores consistently, but. No, it was good for him, and it's great to finally have Cody back teaching at Peloton Studios, New York. He's happy to be back. I know this over the course of this weekend, he's already in the Caribbean right now as we record this, so he's getting a little R&R with his partner Andreas.
Good for him. That's awesome.
But he's taught a few cycling classes. He had a boot camp, since he's returned. So, and he's in full form now. We have some great little comedy tidbits from his recent rides that I've done with him since he's been back.
That's awesome.
And EXO, fine. I know we announced this. I feel like we announced this so long ago. His ride series, XOXO Cody, is returning on the 14th of this month. So I'm sure we will have some fun banter from him on that series when it returns.
Oh, you'll have tons more material, John. You'll be so happy.
Oh yeah. They never disappoint.
To have all that material. Exactly.
And hopefully I get a question submitted that he ends up answering.
Which will be fun, of course. Yeah, of course.
Those are fun. The Q&A portion.
Yeah. All right. And just to kind of wrap things up, I know you have one more story after me, but Peloton was actually featured in an article in the Atlantic.com, and it was titled "Peloton is Stuck Just Like the Rest of Us." It was a pretty interesting article, John. It spoke about how Peloton was this, it came from nowhere. It was this, pandemic absolute highlight for so many people, and how we've seen the stock plummet, we've seen folks kind of going on to doing other things, and it just focused on a lot of that. So if you want to get more into it, it was actually a good article. Definitely head over to pelobuddy.com so you can get to read a little bit more about that. But that's the Atlantic.com. And
then we also had a interview with Hannah Corbin. She was interviewed by her hometown news webs magazine. I don't know if it's a magazine, but it's called the Portland Monthly. And they caught up with Hannah to talk about her Mexican, Puerto Rican heritage, growing up in the Pacific Northwest. She's an Oregon native, and how she landed the gig with Peloton. And she's one of the founding instructors with Peloton. She's been with the company for almost 8 years. And she said in her first, several years that when she was with Peloton, she was still dancing, doing a show 6 nights a week and teaching on top of that. Back then, she said we were lucky to have one person on the leaderboard, and now we've grown to 6.2 million members worldwide. So that gives a little background on her heritage, coming from Oregon, her family. So if you want to learn a little bit more about Hannah, I feel like a lot of people sleep on her. She's talked about in a couple of her classes when she was stuck recently trying to fly back from Oregon to go back to New York. She was just randomly talking to someone in the airport at the gate, at the terminal. And I think they were wearing some Peloton apparel, and she was asking, "Oh, who's your favorite instructor?" And the person she was talking to had no idea that she was an instructor, and she didn't say anything. And I feel kind of bad. It's like, do they not recognize? Is she not recognizable outside of the studio? Because she's Howard Stern's favorite, along with Jen Sherman. Yeah. She's Howard Stern's favorite instructor. Howard talks about her consistently on his show. But I just thought that was kind of fun. Like, she's mentioned that before. People don't recognize her, and she'll talk to people about Peloton. She'll never say that she's an instructor. She's kind of humble, but I feel like people kind of sleep on her.
But I'm sure. So now, think about it. With her mask on, sitting in an airport, it probably was hard. It would be hard to see anyway. So
Good point. Yeah.
But we'll give that credit. I think if that person knew what was underneath the mask, they would have recognized her because she's gorgeous. So
yeah.
So yeah.
So that was
John, I guess
nice little read. Oh, happy birthdays.
Birthdays, that's what I was going to say. You have some special birthdays.
Bradley Rose. How old is Bradley Rose?
I don't know the answer to that.
He just had a birthday.
He did.
Probably early 30s.
He won't say his age.
Oh, he's one of those types that keeps it a secret?
He is one of those.
Okay, we'll just go on his IMDb because he's got TV and film credits. Unless he's the type that changes his own Wikipedia page and fudges the date.
And says what it was. I haven't checked. I should go back and check.
Well, Jen Sherman, she also had a birthday. I feel bad for it. It was obviously probably the saddest birthday of hers in recent years with the passing of Howie Godnick. But she had a birthday on Wednesday, December 1st. I believe she's 53. She's the oldest, the Peloton, the OG of Peloton, the very first instructor hired. But if you want to see, if you've never ridden with Jen, I posted a really good, it's about a 6-minute highlight reel in honor of her birthday. It's on my Instagram. It's on YouTube. I posted on the official Peloton member page. It's up there. But if you really want to get a sense of what type of instructor and person Jen Sherman is, watch that compilation. I included a couple clips of Howie Godnick in there from his TV show theme show ride when he introduces. She had him actually get up on the stage to introduce the ride. She grabs Jen's mic. And then a couple clips from the ride as well, and a couple clips from Jen's tribute ride too for him.
It was great. It was great.
Yeah.
It was very well done. Excellent.
And now...
And then Tunde. Tunde had a birthday just this Sunday. Just today. So happy birthday to Tunde as well. Yeah. I guess with so many instructors now, there's ought to be a birthday almost every month or every week at least, because there's so many instructors. And then last up is our picks of the week, and I'll let you go first, John. I don't have many this week.
Okay. Well, I'm including some class since we were off the week of Thanksgiving from the show. I've got a couple from that week, so I'm just going to do rapid fire. So I'm not, rambling too much. But first up, I'm going to go with Alex Toussaint's 45-minute turkey burn from Thanksgiving morning, the 25th. If you did that one, there's something about being on a live ride with, I think his class had almost 34,000 members on the leaderboard, but there's something about being in a live class with that many members that just elevates the excitement. And it was a great ride. That's all I can really say about it. It was super fun. I love that tradition of doing that class every year on Thanksgiving. I know it had well more less people on the leaderboard than last year, which we were in the height of the pandemic. At that, there's 50,000 people on between his and Robin's last year, but still a super fun ride. I don't care about the amount of people, but comparing it, but still just a great class. And then Cody's first live bike boot camp back since he returned from Dancing with the Stars. He had a 60-minute heated up boot camp from Friday, November 26th. Challenging class, some funny Cody tidbits in there, and he was super excited. He said he hadn't picked up a dumbbell since he was in LA, so he was definitely feeling it. He was feeling a little out of shape on the floor, especially. And then obviously I have to put Jen Sherman. I know she's your pick of the week as well, but Jen Sherman's 30-minute tribute ride, which we've already talked about early in the show, at the top of the show, from Tuesday the 30th. Just a super emotional and just a great way if you don't know about Howie Godnick, you're just learning about him, to really hear about the person behind the stories through Jen's eyes. Just a fantastic way. And to also just to grieve for him and, for the community. I felt like it was such a special ride in that sense. And then Sam Yo's 30-minute AC/DC ride. I don't put Sam a lot in my picks of the week, but that was a super fun. I know you said you don't like AC/DC, Amanda, but pretty much every AC/DC song will get you fired up if you're working out to it. That's their kind of music. So his 30-minute AC/DC ride. Yeah, it's Sam's great. Sam always, he always puts so much passion into those. I love
Sam. I think Sam's awesome. Yeah.
Especially in those theme classes that he does. And 100%. Then Emma Lovewell. I don't put a lot of Emma picks, but I have to give her serious kudos from her 45-minute classic rock ride from Thursday, December 1st. She put in a song that I didn't think I would ever hear on the Peloton platform, and it's Bob Dylan's Hurricane. And it's an 8.5-minute ballad, and it's a very racially charged song. It's all about Reuben Carter, the famous boxer who was falsely imprisoned for probably over 20 years for murder. And he was finally released, exonerated. I never thought I would hear that song on the platform, but it's a fantastic song, and I posted in my stories, giving her credit for putting that in there, because they even say the N-word in the song at one point, and I figured for sure that they would play like an edited, if it ever even was played on the Peloton platform, especially in this day and age. But she played it the full 8.5 minutes, and it was just overall a great ride. So kudos to Emma for that one. And then Selena Samuela, her 30-minute rock run back on the tread from Thursday, December 2nd. Just, she was super fired up from the gate. She, was pushing me hard. She screamed at me when she shouted me out. So that even got me more amped up. So those are mine. Those are mine for the week.
Awesome. And so I'll go ahead and give you mine. And I know you had a lot this week, so I will keep mine short and sweet. My first pick of the week, actually, I did do Alex's ride on Thanksgiving morning, and it was fantastic. But I have to tell you, John,
Robin's was better. I knew you were going to say that.
I was tired. I was tired when I got on because I had done hers. I'd done some things in between.
Yeah, it's 8 in the morning.
I spent the morning. I spent the morning on the bike and tread. But Robin's 45-minute Thanksgiving ride was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. She also had about 34,000 people on there. And John, look, we got to recognize people were traveling. Last year over Thanksgiving, everybody was home, so they had access to their bikes and their treads. And this year, people were traveling and people were all over the place. So I think
people are finally getting out.
Exactly. I think that definitely had to impact the numbers. But Robin's 45-minute was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And I hadn't done a 45 in a while, and she just kept me going. I loved it. I will throw in Jen's tribute ride. We both spoke about it. I think that if you haven't done it, I think everybody should do it. I think you were 100% right in just learning more about this amazing, Peloton OG member. That was me on the bike. And then the tread. So I will share with you guys very briefly. I had a tread debacle. I ended up running on Sunday morning. I was really excited because I got up bright and early to do John's 7 a.m. Run, and my tread died. And I was devastated. Devastated. Called Peloton to be told that I would not have anybody out until January the 8th.
Wow.
And I was not a happy camper. I was very, very upset. So that was what started my Sunday. I will share, because there are lots of you that follow me on social media and were concerned. It's all about who you know, John. And I got really lucky. I have to say, I've shared that I had become friends with the store manager at the Harrods storefront in London, and we've been chatting back and forth on social media, and we just keep in touch, which is fantastic. I adore him, absolutely adore Rodrigo. And he had messaged me about something. He's like, "Why aren't you being your bubbly self?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm so bummed." And I told him the story, and he was like, "Let me see what I can do." And it worked. And I am so unbelievably grateful to him. But all I know is that I got an email saying that somebody will be out on Wednesday.
Oh, wow. That's a big change from January.
Isn't that so nice? Again, I don't know what he did. He just said, "Look, I know people." And he said to me, "I'm going to tell them who you are." I'm like, "Okay, who am I?" But it was really fun. It was so sweet of him. So let's cross our fingers. But with that, I do want to tell you that I did Jocelyn Thompson's Rules 20-minute Motown walk. And I'm just going to check the date. It was back from the 30th. So it was just this past Tuesday. So I took it on the road because obviously I couldn't do it on the tread. But it was fantastic. Jocelyn is somebody that I have, again, having met her in London, has really gravitated me towards the UK tread coaches. She is so inspirational. She did an opening, her pre-show opening was fantastic and got everybody in the mood. I'm a huge Motown fan, and it was just an easy, fun, music was awesome. So that's my tread pick of the week. And then I always have to add in my my meditation, and this one goes to Ross. Ross Rayburn gave a 10-minute kindness meditation. And it was from December the 3rd. It is just a 10-minute meditation, and it was absolutely beautiful. He just got to me. There was something about this meditation that was just really got into my soul, and I've actually done it twice because it was just so fantastic. So
he's my go-to.
So, yeah.
He's my go-to for meditations. I haven't needed to do a sleep one because I haven't had any sleep problems in a while. Knock on wood. But yeah, there's something about his voice. It's just, of all the different meditation instructors, it just really, calms me. I always fall asleep before it ends. So it's obviously...
I mean, he's in my top 3.
It's effective.
I mean, he's definitely in my top 3. As you all know, Aditi is my number 1 girl. She's fantastic. But this one with Ross was fantastic. So folks, those are my picks of the week.
And I was just looking up, I'll also give a shout out to Jocelyn Thompson-Rule. I did my first, I think it was my first run with her just this past Tuesday. I did a live 20-minute rock run with her. That was pretty good. It
was fantastic. I did it too.
Oh yeah, I did that one live, and yeah, shout out to her. It was great.
Yeah.
I don't think I've done a live run with your boy John yet, but he's definitely on the radar.
Yeah, I think you'll enjoy him. I think he's fun. He's fun. If you can get past he's all right, yeah, you're good.
See, now I'm gonna be.
I know you're going to be listening for that. You're going to be listening for that. But yeah, I have to say all 4 of them. I mean, I try and rotate them. And in fact, Susie and I were chatting again. She's somebody that's been connecting with me on social, and it's been really fun and very encouraging. I mean, they were all, I had posted, about the tread, and they all reached out to me, and it was, and asked me, like, after the fact, came back and said, have you heard anything? And in fact, John did say to me, he actually, when I had shared with him, he said to me, I wish I knew the right people, because I just don't have the right people. And I was like, don't worry about it. I have my boy at Harrods. We're good to go. So
I'm just glad that there is now more variety and more to choose from on a daily basis in terms of live classes, between the London Tread and the New York Tread studio.
Almost to the point, John, where it's I can't fit everything in. I almost struggle as to who I'm going to pick, and I really want to give them all the love. So it's hard because I can't pick, whatever. So it goes by music. For me, a lot will depend on, what but again, for the live ones, I don't know what the music's necessarily going to be. So, I'll be honest. I mean, Susie gave an 80s, and I think it was an 80s run, and it wasn't music that I would have expected to have heard in an 80s pop run. So, and I did it live. So, I mean, it was fun, but it wasn't what I expected to hear. So those are mine. And yeah, for a 2-week hiatus, I think it wasn't too bad. I mean, I know we threw a lot out at you guys, but I don't think it was too bad. And hopefully it gave my friend...
if you're still with us.
Exactly. Well, it gave my friend Zags Fangirl the whole week to listen to the podcast. So she was upset that Wednesday is, it kind of ends by Wednesday. So Nicole, you got a whole week of listening to, to the show. And of course, Tony and Sue Sinkinson, I know you've sat in front of that TV now and heard the whole show in one foul swoop. So hope you enjoyed it. I know I was pleased to be back this week. And happy holidays to everybody as we delve into December. And looking forward to seeing you all next week.
And okay, so and I thought you were going to say and from me in Maryland.
And from Lower Manhattan.
Oh, Lower Manhattan, yes. From the Ritz-Carlton.
No Ritz-Carlton.
From the Hampton Inn in Jersey.
From the Courtyard Marriott. No, but from Manhattan here in New York. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you next week.
And from me in Michigan, thanks as always for tuning in, and we will see you on the leaderboard.
Thank you for watching Pelo Buddy TV, your source for everything Peloton, by the community, for the community. Work out with us using the Pelo Buddy TV leaderboard tag, and find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Pelo Buddy. Don't forget that we have a podcast available so that you can listen to us while on the move. Just search for Pelo Buddy TV on any major platform and hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode.